Welcome to Curb Enthusiasm. I'm Emily Weidenhof.
And I'm Ryan Lynch.
Our guest has spent his life fighting for social and economic justice and championing safer, more equitable, and more sustainable streets.
He's a former teacher and New York City Council member who chaired the Transportation Committee, and for the past 4 years, he has led the New York City Department of Transportation as commissioner.
It's our pleasure to welcome Ydanis Rodriguez to the podcast. Welcome, Commissioner. We are so excited to speak with you today. And Ryan, you're your Chief of Staff. Welcome as well. Very excited. Here at 55 Water, you have a long history in this building and a really amazing story about how you got to this amazing position as commissioner of an incredible agency. Could you share with our listeners that story?
Well, first of all, thank you, Emily and Ryan, for being the co-host with this podcast. My first job was washing dishes at O. Henry Restaurant, West 4th and 6th Avenue. Now there's a Capital Bank. So when I passed by through there, I told my daughter this is where everything started. When my father took me there to work in the basement there. And being in this building decades after when I used to work here doing sandwiches, where Chase Bank used to own most of the floors, and the cafeteria used to be like at the 40 floors. And now being here after putting myself through college, becoming a teacher and being a council member, and now having this opportunity to be part of an agency of 6,000 men and women responsible to manage 27% of the land. And as a New York City charter established, we are responsible to provide a safe and efficient movement of people and vehicles. So for me, it's a great opportunity because I see myself not only as a person in the top of the agency, but I'm the story of the newcomer. I'm the story of whoever is taking care of the roadway. I'm the story of those who are cleaning, with street. I'm the story of those who are working in the correspondence unit. So for me, it's like a great moment to be at my age of 60, working with so many great talented people who are doing so many things to reimagine transportation in our city and being a role model for the nation and for the whole world.
I'm really interested in having worked with you so closely over the past 3 years, gotten to know you not only as a boss, a coworker, but as a friend. I think one of the cool parts about working for you is you have really great perspective. Perspective on achievement, perspective on how projects evolve, but also perspective on your life and what's important in life. And one of the things I most greatly appreciate about you is that you are always about family first. You're always putting your daughters ahead of anything, which is what.
And they're my boss.
They're your boss, right? But and then you expect that of your coworkers as well. You want your coworkers, if they have something. If I've ever had anything with my kids or my wife, you've always been like, go. That's priority number one. So I guess, how does your relationship with your daughters sort of influence how you view the city, how you view transportation, and how you prioritize the work that you do?
I would say my daughters are the most important things that I have in my life. And for me, everything starts and ends with them, being a role model. And I appreciate it from their mother, who is Deputy Chancellor Dr. Melendez, who always told me, I don't know how she got me, but she persuaded me that I had to be the role model or the type of man that we want our daughter to be in the future. So it means like from being sure that we all have equal voices, for knowing that, they're the one that are the future of our society. And for me, my daughter's Isla Yarisa is only part of the generation of young people who will be future, whatever they choose to do in their life. And so I learned from so many people. Like, for me, it's like I can say, as Lin-Manuel say, immigrant get the job done. I claim that.
Yeah, you often talk about even the mother of your kids and your neighbors are like, what are you doing? Why are you building a bike lane, or why are you building a plaza here? How do you, but you talk about how transportation has to be viewed not just from an equity perspective, but from a perspective of socioeconomic class. Like, how have you sort of advocated that in communities that have historically not seen transportation as a priority or safe mobility as a priority, and sort of kept that vision on the broader citywide goal?
I think the way of how I've been able to keep that perspective is by never being disconnected who I am.
Yeah.
And I think that for me, like, if looking to do the best I can, and my daughters make me the best human being possible, is like, be who you are, be authentic. Mm-hmm. And I think that that's something that goes for me beyond being a council member, beyond being a teacher, beyond being a commissioner. So I think that right now what we have again, putting the perspective, yes, on transportation, is great opportunity for us to bring all the energy and really celebrate all the accomplishment that we have obtained in this city for the last couple of decades. Putting the city in the best place as possible and celebrate that we are a role model in the nation with the larger numbers of protected bikeland, with the larger numbers of public space, with the larger numbers of bus lane, and never lose perspective. Let's celebrate all the big accomplishments, and I think that that's a way for me on how I, has decided to carry myself and do my job as one, only as another member of 6,000 men and women of DOT.
So talking about perspective, I think another perspective that you brought to this agency that's been incredibly important for me and my team has been a perspective of celebrating and really looking at our cumulative accomplishments, taking a moment to pause and to celebrate. Speaking personally, as a civil servant, it's so easy to be always thinking about the next thing or be feeling and seeing the thing you didn't get accomplished, but it was a really important project and you're just thinking about what's the next opportunity to be able to advance this set of improvements. So it's really easy to just always be thinking about the future and the next thing. And something you've really brought in your time here at DOT is taking moments to celebrate the amazing work and energy and accomplishments of this incredible agency. And personally, I have to say, I'm so grateful for you bringing that value. And could you share what is at the heart of that value and the perspective that you see in the celebration of accomplishment?
Yeah, I think it is important that we as individuals and we as an institution take time to celebrate whatever new values I have bring to this agency, expanding from what we have built, is coming from a good place in my heart of how can we keep moving forward. I always say that as someone that has been part of the movement, that has been one of the things that many people influencing my life, always to celebrate the moments of successful, because there's going to be moments of defeat. There's got to be a moment where we cannot accomplish everything we want as individuals and as an institution. And I think that this agency, again, the average New Yorkers, they are not taking time to know who's taking care of the pothole, who's doing the roadway, why we are not able to do Peeve during the winter. Right. And I think that it is important that everyone who dedicates so much time, are acknowledged and recognized. And that's why I always say, I know my job. I know my role. I know that I'm the leading a person in this agency, but I always will be successful if I share that spot.
Mm-hmm. If we're not in the news for something, it generally means we're doing the right thing. So when the operational agencies are hitting their marks and hitting all the benchmarks that we have in terms of pothole repair, in terms of lane miles paved, just the bread and butter of what the agency does. If we're not in the news, that's a positive thing because nobody's going to write about, we did all this wonderful stuff. But New Yorkers are tough. So when we don't hit benchmarks or we're the challenge to hit the different things in terms of bike lane miles or whatever that case may be, they expect really high levels of service, and they deserve high levels of service. But one of the things that I really liked about your tenure here, and was to the point of celebrating things, was allowing team members, yourself included, to go to different conferences, to speak with different agencies, and sort of that cross collaboration that we had with a lot of different cities or different countries on transportation, to remind the team of the amazing amount of work, the product that comes out of the agency. Everyone is looking to New York City as the leader of sustainable transportation in the country, competing in the world with all the amazing programs that we have. So that ability that, to your point earlier about celebrating the wins, like those are really great opportunities to remind people, you're doing amazing work. We're doing more than anyone other city is doing combined in the country. And it's really important to kind of remind staff that, for example, Audubon, that we just ribbon cut yesterday. That's the 150th or 151st New York City DOT art project during your tenure here as commissioner. It's 11,000 square feet of public space in an area that's devoid of public space. And
our 93rd Plaza.
93rd Plaza, taking a moment to like really cherish that.
Well, and also an agency of 6,000 people, that's a city in and of itself. Mm-hmm. So the opportunity to lift up and amplify and celebrate all the amazing work also helps us all know about what our entire city of an agency is doing. Because, as I think we all like to say, transportation is a team sport, and being able to respect everybody's contribution and see how we're all lifting each other's work up is really important.
And I see this agency not only as a place where we continue receiving, great, talented people, and the level of retentions. Like most people who come to DOT, they don't leave DOT. Mm-hmm. Like most people who are here, they have this opportunity to grow in our family. And I think that the level of ownership that everyone develops is so amazing. And for me, like I always say that when I came here, so every single person in this agency has great access that we cannot afford to lose. And I think that that's the most important thing that I see at the New York City DOT is like the level of retention of people here is like 15, 20 years, and they are so dedicated, and many of them dedicate their whole life, then retire from this agency because they care about the job that they do. And so I encourage everyone, any audience that we have right now, to go to the New York City DOT website, look for opportunity to come and join this great agency, because you will not find another place if you want to make the difference reimagining transportation than coming to the New York City Department of Transportation.
Hey, listeners. We hope you're enjoying this episode of our podcast. For those of you who are as enthusiastic about transportation and planning as we are, we'd like to hear from you. You can submit topics and questions that you'd like us to cover at nyc.gov/curb enthusiasm. And now, back to our conversation.
One of the greatest accomplishments that I've seen from you has just been like, we are going to focus on equity as an agency in everything we do, not just on where we deliver the projects, but in our contracting, in the makeup of the agency, like the people that work in the agency, and like the fact that we've gone from an 11% MWBE contracting the day you came in to, I believe it's 37% now at the end of the 4 years, is a testament to putting your money where your mouth is. And not just talking the game, but actually delivering on the game. And the same thing with, the diversity in our leadership. First time ever that DOT has had a leadership structure that is primarily people of color, over 50% of people of color. Like that's really reflective of New York City. And for an agency that has taken a lot of critique that say it's not made up of the people that represent the city or make up the city, I think that's a real testament to sort of the goal of achieving or getting into a position of power isn't the end goal. It's the actual delivery of what you can do when you get there. And those are some things that, like, you've prioritized contracting, you've prioritized the projects in underserved communities, you've prioritized the community engagement in underserved communities that is, like, through your commission and your borough efforts. There are a whole bunch of ways that you shape this agency, and I'd love to hear which one you're most proud of. But I think that the fact that you sort of put equity front and center in terms of not just a talking point, but actually a deliverable, has been really helpful in moving the city forward and moving this agency forward in a way that's going to be felt for generations to come.
Yeah, and I think that that's our responsibility. I think that we all have to be, in tune with the time and the movement. I feel that, the only reason why I share my perspective, my background, those values, is because we do a great job. It's because no one can question that we're taking care of the pothole in 2 days. Mm-hmm. No one can question that we are doing our milling, our roadway, our sidewalk, our bridges, our 44,000 intersection of our light pole, is working. And because we are able to do that, then I think that we have the time to brainstorm on new ideas, on what is behind, what is the motivation. And for me, again, I'm happy. I thank God for this opportunity. And for me, and then my message, especially to the youngest ones, to those who may be thinking about, I don't know if I can be successful in this area or no, is that, yeah, you can. Just work hard and fight your obstacle. I can tell you even today, I know that I don't get the same airtime by the mainstream media because of my accent. It's clear that happened, but it doesn't put me down. I know that many people, when I came to this agency, start asking about the question about, well, but is it a planner, is it an engineer? None of the previous commissioners were engineers or planners. But it's like, why not you stop checking and having this conversation? So for me, it's like, society, time goes quick. And I feel that if we pass by through any division, through any position that we have in life, and yes, we become another person in charge of any area, the commissioner, you get paid, you take care of the bill. But what is your fingerprint? And that's why for me it is so critical that as we continue reimagining our transportation, first of all, we never separate from the biggest responsibility, which is to provide agents to create a city where every movement of pedestrians, cyclists, drivers are safe and efficient. And I think that when I look about DOT, I got to look back to Janet, to Iris, to Polly, to Hank, and know that I just took what they did further. And I hope that after January, whoever, myself or anybody else who may be a commissioner after January, that they take the value of this agency and also take it further. I think that, being a commissioner in this agency is the biggest privilege. But the biggest one is to be working with this great team of men and women, those 6,000 who are working so hard 24/7. And because we run a tight operation in this agency, we can guarantee all New Yorkers and visitors that as they walk, as they use the scooter, the e-bike, the regular bike, as they drive, that we are a city of 350 square miles that provide an efficient movement and a movement of people and vehicle. And of course, vehicle today is not vehicle 30 years ago, because vehicle 30 years ago was only car. Today, scooter, e-bike, and other.
So New York City right now, thankfully, is experiencing close to record lows in terms of fatalities on our streets. That comes at the heels of like a spike during COVID. So we do transportation from the 3 E's perspective: engineering, enforcement, and education. I think over the past 4 years, we've had really great projects. I'm interested to hear, what do you think you're most proud of in terms of engineering projects that are really moving the needle on pedestrian fatalities writ large across New York City?
Yeah, I think you're right. As you said, we all can celebrate that we have 18% reduction of traffic death this year by compared to 2024. And that's a result of big accomplishment. We have built the larger numbers of protected bike lane in this administration. That's larger than the numbers that have been built by previous administration in the same period of time. But also, we've been widening the bike lane at 3rd Avenue, 2nd Avenue, 10th Avenue, 3rd Avenue. Mm-hmm. We also have established a weight emotion. All the city now are trying to learn from us. As under the BQE, and I got to say thank you to Tambi and Paul, the whole team of Bridges, who work with the private sectors, and we developed a software that now allow us to give a $650 fine for those overweight trucks going through that area. And immediately after we started implementing the weight emotion, we saw a 60% reduction of overweight truck that allow for us to protect also our bridges. But I think that among the big accomplishment being like from the weight emotion, the numbers of bike lane, bus lane, if you look at Hillside, yes, the bus lane that we did in Hillside allow us to see how 225,000 riders use that corridor every day.
So I think it's the longest bus lane we've ever done as an agency, right?
It's the longest, and if we put in perspective, there's a 1 million bus ridership that we have in the whole city every day,
right?
And 225,000 go through that Hillside. So yes, finishing that one, taking on Flatbush, that is have a lot of complicity. But we working, building the bus lane in that area too, the Broadway vision, mm-hmm. that where we hope to see the futures of a Broadway from Union Square all the way to Columbus Circle. Mm-hmm. That's what we want to see the future New York City making that big avenue more pedestrians and cyclist friendly. But we're not waiting for future plan. We already been redesigning, building pedestrian space, bike lane from 25 to 32nd, and we will continue moving forward. 5th Avenue, that's another big vision, and only we are discussing the vision of 5th Avenue, but also when we close 5th Avenue during the holiday, right. We also saw a high increase of sales in that area. So again, I think that I'm proud of all the bus lane, bike lane that we have built. Is this our finest goal? No. We need to do more. And I hope, again, that as we will look to the future of the city, we need to talk about what is a plan of how we will make the city more pedestrians and cyclist friendly, and a city where moving in our bus should be a good experience, no a experience that it takes so long for people to go from point A to point B.
So you talked a little bit about some of these projects that you're proud of. I think you highlighted a couple projects, Flatbush in particular, in my mind, that really goes to what Emily had mentioned earlier about the long-term nature of a lot of these projects. Like Flatbush Avenue is as you mentioned, a very complex corridor, entails a lot of traffic analysis, a lot of community engagement. And we've kicked this off in 2022, and we're just starting to see paint on the ground this past year. And I think that's like a testament to the sort of long-term nature that you're talking about, like the baton passing from previous commissioners to yourself and to whomever comes after. And really sort of like where we're at right now is a baseline to jump off of moving forward. But the challenge is that a lot of these projects are longer-term projects that we do short-term measures with paint and plastic, but the longer-term stuff is capital, and it's hard to sort of translate that to the public sometimes. So how do you think that moving forward we can kind of communicate better with the public or engage with the public to really kind of like highlight how complex these projects are, why they take so long, and what we can do to speed them up, because we do know that we need to speed projects up and implementation up?
I think it's about changing the culture. And I think that it's about knowing that when we, from commissioners to everyone who work together, we take any project, we don't do it trying to be popular. we got to be
in
committed.
the wrong business if you want to be popular.
It's a wrong business, and we got to do it because it's the right thing to do.
Right.
And we need to do it because we have to understand that even though people may complain, people may be against it, but when they will see the benefit of a bike lane or a bus lane, those projects are not only important because it move our riders quickly and safer, more efficient, but also it reduces speeding in those areas. Mm-hmm. So when we see that we have 48 more lives today than what we had last year, those, as we always say, and it begs and always remind us, in our talking point, those are not numbers, those are life. Mm-hmm. And I think that, that's one of the big accomplishments for me. The most important one is to save life. And when we save, yes, one life, for me, that's priceless. That's most important than hundreds of people that may be rallying against a project or a bus lane or a bike lane. So I'm happy to see where New York City is today. One of the things that everyone across the nation and the globe, they should picture New York City, not to compare the city with Amsterdam or any other places where it's only made by middle-class people. New York City is the most density city in the nation. Mm-hmm. Knowing that our city is only made of 350 square miles or the 54,000 square miles of the state of New York, and we may have almost half percent of the New York State population. We are 9 million people of the 20 million the state. For me, it's about all the challenges that come on any project that we take. Knowing that we have 4 different stations, that we cannot take many projects during the winter, that we have to provide a space for the utility company, Verizon Connect, to do the work at the same time that we do the milling and the paving of the street. Knowing that in the city of New York, there's 30 million different opinions when we take any project. So for me, I'm happy to see how New Yorkers, even those who were against it, now they celebrate having the bike lane where they can move across the 5 boroughs through bicycle or scooter or mopeds. I think it's one of the biggest accomplishments that we have. But the most important for me is about saving life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Having been at the front lines of this work for the past 4 years, what advice do you have for the next administration?
Yeah, I think that not only the 4 years, but since I was a chairman of the Transportation Committee, from 2014, most of the law that now I had to accomplish and I'm accountable and it's my fault, I passed those laws working with TA. Look, for me, it's about, as I say, regardless if I will be commissioned January 1st or new people will come on board, the most important is that we have a mayor with Mamdani that is on public space. That he already said, that he even said that he will change the process where SAPO make decision. And I think that, he want, and that's in his word, to simplify the process where CBO, they will not have to pay for some permits when they do some event on the street. So I'm happy that we have a mayor that he even thinking further. So it will be a challenge if we will have a mayor that will not believe in reimagining public space. If we will have a mayor that will not believe in bike lane and bus lane. But I think that in January 1st, we will have a mayor that he will take into the big accomplishment on this administration, and he will continue to make the city of New York a pedestrians and cyclist-friendly city, a role model for the nation and for the globe.
So I've worked with you very closely for 3 years. I've never gotten a straight answer on this from you. What's your biggest transportation pet peeve? You're so accessible, so go with the flow. I don't know if you have one or not. I mean, what irks you the most about the transportation world?
So I think that for me is like now that I have my 2 daughters, 18 and 12, and the 18 been going to school in the last 2 years, taking her train and knowing that, the challenge, especially for women, in our train, not feel safe. And it is something that, for me, make me unhappy to know that we cannot guarantee that everyone who are moving in our roadway especially pedestrian cyclists, they're safe all the time. Those who are in the train station, they feel that they're safe too. But we New Yorkers, and we have to live with any type of annoying people that we deal with.
All right. And Commissioner, what are you most enthusiastic for the future of transportation?
Continue reimagining our transportation. The future for me is building a city that is more friendly to pedestrians and cyclists, and especially to bus riders.
Amazing. Well, Commissioner, we are so grateful for your time. And you have certainly, in your time here, energized an agency to continue to think about how we reimagine our streets as public space. And we are certainly excited to work with you well into the future on this incredibly important work, and also continue to celebrate with you.
Thank you to all of you. Thank you to the 6,000 men and women of DOT. Thank you to everyone that in different parts of this nation or across the world are making a difference through transportation. Moving people safe and efficient is a human right, and we should all be working to accomplish that goal.
Thanks, Commissioner.
Thank you.